Welcome to Let's Play Rule the Waves 3 as Germany, starting in 1935. It's April 1947, and we have the British on the run. Frankly, if it wasn't for the French saving their bacon in Northern Europe, the blockade of Germany would have been removed, and I don't know, possibly Britain would be facing blockade. We have a little look at the game. We can see, if we zoom in here, that Germany now has all of its battle cruisers back, a couple of heavy cruisers, ordinary cruisers, all 5 CVs, absolutely fine. Our blockade strength as Germany is 152. Britain's is 96. And if it wasn't for the 122 that France are contributing, Britain would be in a very difficult place. So, cross fingers, we get to have a crack at the French. I mean, having a crack at Britain too, kicking someone when they're down, that's perfectly fine in all naval warfare. But yeah, to actually remove the blockade on Germany, which is 4 months into operation, would require us to defeat the French. So, cross fingers. I think everything else is under control. The finances are fine. The ship's under construction. Just a few more cruisers in a couple months' time. So yeah, let's press the big turn button and see what. Give ourselves some new captains. Cruiser, Hamburg, and Breslau, and Königsberg. See what we've got to choose from. Sort by ability. So it'll have to be a couple of averages. We've got an aviator there, but I'll keep him for later. Let's assign him and equally assign him. And then I think this might have to be. Well, it's not going to be, yeah, they're all full, so it's going to have to be a question mark. That's all right. And let me just check the divisions. So, yes, the 2nd Light Cruiser Division. I don't know if we've had, like, a lot of deaths or retirements, but let's assign a commander to this. So we certainly don't want the incompetents. Let's have an above average. Speed enthusiast, poor ship handler. See, I can't say that I feel very attracted. So let's have Langsdorff. He seems a trap. Right. Now let's see if we can push the big button. The enemy is preparing to invade Norway. Cheeky. So, nothing like a good engagement battle against Britain. So their forces are cruisers and carriers. And we have everyone. We also have 300 aeroplanes, whereas they're not reporting any aeroplanes. I'm sure they must have. Well, I mean, they've got pilot carriers, but they must have some land-based as well, surely. There we go. Neitzel exceeds his command check as usual. We can add a ship and rearrange our forces. I honestly don't think we have very much to do. The battle cruisers look fine. Eisenhower and Lutzow look fine. The destroyers, a couple of light cruisers, plenty more destroyers, carriers, the light cruisers screening them, the second group of carriers, more destroyers. We might be able to add a destroyer. The weather has been so terrible lately. So let's add one of them. And accept. And there's a whole pile of offensive mine laying going on by our people, which is great. And we will definitely be attacking the enemy ships. And here we go. Let's actually let's just rearrange things. I'll try and remember to take this away once we're gone. So, time of day. It is 25 minutes to dawn. So we are just in the beginnings of the pre-dawn light. The battle length is 140 minutes. The wind direction is from the northeast, so coming down this way, which is good because it means we have to do our flying on and off operations whilst heading to Norway, and so do they. Come to me. The range, well, it's about 4,000 yards at the moment, but it will grow to 25,000, which is nice. The wind strength, by the way, is only a moderate breeze. So hooray for calm weather for once. There are not going to be any speed restrictions or flight restrictions, which is most excellent. Let's zoom out. We are just off the coast of Shetland. There's dawn approaching quickly. So, yeah, we have some batteries, which is fine for mines and things. More importantly, we have a couple of important air bases there, and then some down in the base of Norway and in Trondheim, which all should be a help. So that's excellent. Set the game speed to ultra fast. The order of battle. Don't really think we have to do terribly much with this. This is exactly how I would expect it, with the bonus that the battle cruisers are separate from the aircraft carriers, so they can go in, and they can go in secure in the knowledge that the carriers, the British carriers, are not protected by any battle cruisers, unless, the French pop up unexpectedly with a squadron, which I'm completely fine about. Let's have a look at the objective. Attack the enemy invasion transports and inflict damage to enemy ships. You need to win the battle to prevent an invasion. If you win a resounding victory, you will prevent the invasion, even if the invasion transports are able to unload. So, hooray! Stakes are high. So, create a battle plan. So, currently, the carriers are to the north of the battle cruisers. So, the carriers will probably want to, I would like actually them to come round here and then put them into a kind of patrol around there. Thing would be nice. And for the battle cruisers, I would very much like them to probably head in this direction. Let's just have a look at where it's suggesting that we do search, because that's often a big clue. So they're suggesting to the south and ditto. Okay, so that's all to the south. If we zoom back in, I can just see there are lots of dots here for presumably early morning air reconnaissance. So I'm going to launch a few scouts down to the south, since that's where we are being directed. This has got to be a quite intensive area for search. So let's do that. I've also, if we go to the division, I've also asked for land-based cap over the division. Yeah, the carriers can provide it too, but there's no harm getting some stuff from Stavanger and from Bergen. And yeah, since the enemy is expected to be to the south, going south would seem to be a good thing, in which case I'm going to take the carriers a bit more south and then get them patrolling off here, depending on where we see it. carriers, I'm going to say not to search, because I think we've got enough search planes. Medium cap, night cap. Because we're only 25 minutes away from dawn, I'm going to do an airstrike. So I notice in my first Flug division, I only have 6s and 3s for the missiles and 20s and 12s for the torpedoes, whereas in the second Flug, despite there only being 2 carriers as opposed to 3 in the first, I've got 10 missiles and 34s, 32s for torpedoes. So that's quite nice. So for the big hitting second Flug, I'm going to auto strike and get them to ready themselves. I'm going to set the priority to CVs, least I forget. And yeah, ready the strike. Obviously, we have no idea where the British are, other than they're probably to the south, hopefully. Let's exit that, come back out. I'm happy with the AI control, so the second to last. So the battle cruisers and the carriers are both fine. Sorry, battle cruisers and carriers. And the radii to sort things out is all fine for now. So I will get rid of this. And off we go. Good luck to us. Let's push it on and say yes and yes to all of that. And see what we get. Well, we're getting the strikes ready. We're getting dawn coming along. Any strikes? And there we go. So, no reports. Just stuff taking off and coming along. Let's just bring that out a bit. So lots of planes in the air. And still nothing. I'm just going to zoom all the way out. Just move. Ah, I said there was nothing. And there is one. So, boom. This is a bit odd. There is a report, 2 carriers, 3 light carriers, and a bunch of destroyers. And they're in this rough area, but it's not showing a flag. It's just showing a flag for this one destroyer. Do I launch on that? I mean, if I go miles away, keep very zoomed in, and then right-click and say locate, yeah, it definitely takes me to this kind of area where there isn't a flag. So I am tempted to go straight to launch strike and go to the second Flug and select ready and launch strike. What can go wrong? Let's carry on. Do I want to coordinate the strike? No, I've forgotten about this. So I'm going to coordinate them by carrier. Otherwise, it would take a long time. Yeah, if I coordinate the whole lot, the time on target is just before 9 o'clock. If I just do the Otto Lithenthal right now, time on target is 7 o'clock. I'll take the extra 2 hours to do something more useful. So I'm going to launch that first strike. Select ready. Take these off because they're already flying. And their time on target is 5-10 minutes earlier. So let's launch them. Let's go up to the first Flug and let's auto-select some lovely ones there. Range is 183 nautical miles. So this is quite a long range strike. So let's get them ready. Ready strike. Boom. So let's come back out. Zoom in. So battle cruisers here. First sighting there. So I'm going to point them that way. And I'm going to take it, let me think. So I want to bring my carriers down here. but they are 180 nautical miles away to whatever is going on here. That would take at 20 knots, 9 hours. Could thrash it up to 25 knots, which obviously would bring that down to 7 hours. Now, the good news is that they're trying to invade Norway. So they need to come up this way, or either that way, depending on which way they're going. However, if they need to launch their planes, they also need to go that way. So they should be both coming towards us and coming towards us a bit faster to launch their planes. So that could take the 9 hours down to 4.5 hours. And that seems a much more doable thing. In that case, I need to adjust my plan to more of this kind of direction, because that's the way they should be going if they're going to mount a successful invasion. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set my course to southeasterly. I'm going to increase speed to 20 knots. I don't want the destroyers to go running out of fuel. And then when we get a bit closer and we get some more intelligence reports, I will push it up to 25 knots in order to get a surface strike group interception of these carriers. If I can intercept them, whatever the planes have done, and tally-ho for the planes, that would be an enormous turkey shoot. Let's let that go ahead. So southeast, yeah. Assuming they're going for sort of the Stavanger kind of distance. Let's push this on. And a bit more. So I'm doing 9 minutes at the moment for the carriers. Obviously, they largely have to go upwards to launch a strike. Ooh, unknown radar content. That's contact. That's unexpected. So what are we seeing? An unidentified ship. Okay. Well, I really didn't expect that. Actually, that must be from, even, I'm going to go, just within the radar range of the Gneisenauer. So there it is, unknown. So let's rearrange the battle cruisers to a fighting formation. Bit distressing that the air of search completely missed this guy's, and I'm thinking, of course, just could be an errant merchant ship or whatever. So I'm going to put the Gneisenau and the Lutzow into independent and line abreast, because I want to maximize their ability to intercept. And obviously, we don't necessarily know which way they're going. Once we know which way they're going, then I'll put them into line ahead. So that's fine for them. I'm going to put the Berlin and the Breslau into support and make them line ahead. They're following the Graf Spee. Obviously, the Graf Spee itself is fine. And let's turn them and push them up to 27, actually. And let's take the Gneisenau up to 28. Okay. And we'll move this one at a time. And I was just going to say, see if this blob resolves into maybe 2 blobs. And they have. So there's a whole pile of airstrikes. Let's have a look at the reports. No more extra reports. So I'm going to wait until I get a second carrier one, because obviously that's going to be in a slightly different position from the first one. And I will launch some of the strikes that way. There we go. And there's another report, this time from Bergen. And right, so this is saying that there are 4 light cruisers and 11 destroyers and 9 transports. Oh. So this is the invasion convoy, and its light escort, and we found the carriers as well, probably. So fingers crossed. Isn't that brilliant? So I'm going to delete that report, because Oh, actually, I won't. I was going to say, because I know where they are. I know where you are. Right, and let's push on. We're in, yeah, we're in daylight. That's all fine. All getting reports. Another report from Bergen. I'm just going to pull out, actually, and just check that these guys are going where I want. And I'm going to take them up to 25 knots because I don't want the gap to be too big. And let's go here. And the range is to this bunch is 33,650, which is going very nicely. Go that way. Nice hour. I'm going to change to line ahead. Lots going on here. Says CAs. I don't think there are CAs available. That looks like a line, and that looks like a line. So yeah, they seem to be in 3 columns. First, they had sight of the targets, and they've lost sight of the targets. I'm sure they'll get them back any second. It says there's a carrier there. I don't believe it. Let's bring these guys along. Says that the Eisenhower is firing at this Conquest class cruiser. The Eisenhower and the Lutzow are 8-inch gunships. The Conquests here are only 5. Tempted. Let's see how they're doing. So they are pumping along as fast as they can be, but they are not quite in range. Oh, there is for the Graf's Bay. I was going to say 3 carriers reported there. They resolved back into transports, presumably tankers or something like that. So here we go. Let's see if we can sort this out a bit. The purpley blue are light cruisers. These have all been identified as the class, so I'm pretty confident with them. This claims to be a heavy cruiser. I don't think that's true. I don't think they have any heavy cruisers. Whether that's actually a light cruiser or not, I don't know. Ditto for this heavy cruiser and this radar contact that is allegedly a heavy cruiser. The greens are transports. The yellows are destroyers. However, I'm not sure whether this actually is being misreported and might be more transports, and that this altogether is the convoy. And then over here, you have some destroyers, and a couple of unknowns, one here and one there. So hopefully that should resolve itself pretty well. They seem to be heading in that direction and in this direction. So obviously I'm going to be interested in cutting them off and going this way in order to get amongst these transports. I don't think these light cruisers are going to upset me too much. So let's bring the Eisenhower, which is now shooting at only 11,000, and swing it round. And yeah, here come the battle cruisers, which just swing that round a little bit. That's shooting at something like 21,000. Sighting range today is 27. That all seems fine. Obviously, the big risk here are torpedoes. So luckily, the Conquest class doesn't have any, but of course the destroyers do. So I'm going to take these so-called screenings, and I'm going to take them off, and I'm going to put them into support, and I'm going to make them line ahead, and I'm going to order them south and see if that helps. And then I think for this one too, I want to do the same thing. So let me go to the division, take it off IA, support, line ahead. Okay. There's the Lutzow trailing behind, no doubt slightly annoyed that it's not in the big action. So, yes, that all seems to be going quite well. So we're getting hits from the Eisenhower. The Reichsgraf has scored a hit as well. Won't take too many 15-inch guns to upset a Conquest class light cruiser. Check. Yeah, 8,000 tons. Good for anti-aircraft screening, not so good up against the big boy guns. You can see here the still an alleged CA and another one there. Nope, turns out to be a destroyer. So, and as predicted, these are turning out to be merchants. Let's carry on with this. Not seeing the destroyers attempt to form any kind of torpedo attack, but still can't take that for granted. Let me just check the reports. Okay, there's some more CV reports in, so I'm just going to tidy up the reports and then have a look at them. Okay, so we've got 2 reports. Let's have a look at where they are. There's one over here and another one close by. Okay, so that seems like a jolly good target for these guys. They're still rushing to the south. So let us bring this one in and select the ready, but then deselect from the other carriers. And we'll send them off one at a time. So the first one from the Richthofen, and we want this most recent one, Scout number 14. Actually, Scout number 14 has done 2 reports. Well done, lads. Extra cocoa for you tonight. 150 nautical miles, which is nice. So launch that. Go back to select ready. Unselect them because they're flying already. Unselect these. And then ditto launch them. And just in case their earlier report is more accurate, but I notice it's bringing up these Algiers and Côte Lion at ranges of 86. So I didn't spot that in the reports. So I wonder if that's part of this group, because 86 from carriers is probably where the battle fleet is. In fact, let's just see if that is true. So yeah, we've got the carrier selected, and yeah, we're 79. And if I go down to there, yeah, so that is there. So I could order a strike against these chaps. I don't think that's really necessary. So I'm going to go back, select ready, deselect those that are already flying, and just launch these against the carriers. They're going to all arrive just after 7. So, which is funny because the first lot sent a little while are also going to take that, but then they probably have less distance to fly. Launch and exit. Actually, let me just have a look here. Is there much of a strike to launch? So yeah, so we could launch an unescorted strike, which seems, I don't know, probably don't have to do that just now. So we've got 5 carriers worths of strikes in the air. So hopefully that will be enough. So I think I'd like, let's get these guys going in, and these, well, they're taking a lot of fire. So let's swing them round and see if, because they've loosed off quite a lot of torpedoes themselves. We'll just see, only a couple of them still have this torpedoes. Lutzow has joined in the fun, which is excellent. You can see this is not wanting to turn that way, so maybe we'll turn this way. Obviously, conscious of these guys. Don't want to walk into a complete destroyer trap, especially as these guys are now only just under 6,000 yards away. So that feels like a turn away time for the Gneisenauer. Let's present our stern, and that will also allow it to catch up with the Lutzow a bit better. So yes, they are turning away. And then bring these to cover. And battle cruisers just enjoying themselves. Lots of secondary armament, giving them kind of fun. 5-inch guns. 10th Destroyer Division has misunderstood. Is that you guys? No, you're the first. You're the 10th. I'm going to bring the Berlin under my control and send it down towards the transports, and then I'm going to bring this screen and make them into support and line ahead and make them go south too. And then finally, these chaps, ditto. So now I've got everything under my command, which is a little bit of a strain. I think I'm going to keep them doing what they're doing and snuck them in between, snuck them behind the battle cruisers. Right. Let's turn them down this way. Let's bring the Gneisenauer to Lutzow's really close by now to close in. So you've got these light cruisers here. Ah, so there is an Algier class. Let me just see what that is. And that is French. Okay. Still only 5-inch guns, 9,000 tons. Again, mainly in anti-air. So let's just paint the various forces so we can get a sense of what's going on. So here we are. The green is the blob of merchant ships, so that's fine. A random selection of disordered torpedo destroyers. 3 light cruisers here, another 3, well, 2 there, and a 3rd there, so 6. Apparently, 2 heavy cruisers, probably not. Collection of slightly disorganized destroyers, there, and there, and then the mystery carrier, not. So that's how it's going. Let's just push it on. And to just straighten them out and straighten those out. I might make, I'm going to charge in with these guys, and I might make these into cores, and that will get them to follow behind and AI control them, the battle cruisers. That's the torpedo boat over there. Bring them down to the same course as the battle cruisers. Let's see what the battle cruisers are doing. So they're just attacking this Usk destroyer in lieu of a better target. Lutzow and Gneisenau now following the battle cruisers around. They are, so we can bring them under control. So let's bring them back. Actually, they seem to have gone into line ahead. Oh, no, sorry, line abreast, but no, they are in line ahead. We do still have the, request cap. They've gone line abreast for some reason. Let's bring them back into line ahead and scoot them down. There's some cap from Norway. These guys can go charging in. I just want to check the reports, actually. So, cruiser force, CV, more CVs, all very tightly spaced. Let's just zoom out there. Yeah, that's nice targeting. And from us, they are 75 nautical miles away. So, is very helpful. That looks like some of the strike forces going in. I've turned on the preferences, sound and video, show ship side flags, because it gets quite hard to see, oh, that's British, 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 Germans, etc. I'm going to straighten up with the Berlin, which is still engaging these guys. Light damage, heavy damage, light damage. What I'm particularly keen to spot is that none of the destroyers are trying to sneak into any of my heavy ships. That's all fine. So lots of hitting going on of merchant ships, which is great. The invasion force is definitely suffering. Let's carry on. Yep, more multiple hits of things. I don't think an entire battlecruiser squadron needs to shoot at a merchant ship. So let's take them this way and see if they can switch fire to these light cruisers. Let's see if I can do a bit of... There we go, 13,000 yards. That seems a much better set of targeting. I not super keen on manually targeting things. No, still wanted to go for them. Right. Bring the battlecruisers back down again. Still looking for British ships. Can't see any. These guys, bring them round. I'm going to take them onto manual control because, 23 knots. Is that a damage thing? No. So, don't know what's happening there. Don't look at this. Don't look at that. Okay, just 2 light hits. So I'm going to max them and see if they can join in. A bit more profitably. I mean, the shooting here, this is more like it at 16,000 yards, which is fine within its range. Enemy approaching our battlecruisers. Righty-ho. Critical hit for Z81. So let us... Oh, seem to be... Oh, need to do that. Let us detach it. Oh yeah, that is a bit challenging for it. Yeah, they all seem to be basically in retreat. Let's bring this into the center. More enemy aircraft. And let's straighten things out a little bit. They are right in the middle of these merchants, which is great. And you can go that way. Not sure why you are going that way, so straighten you up. Yeah, these battlecruisers are just loving. I'm actually a bit concerned with the wastage of ammunition. So down to, by 25%. Full fire with missiles. So I'm going to hold fire, I think, for these guys just for a minute and take them out because I want to use them later on for the carriers if I can find them. I see a merchant ship torpedoed. More enemy aircraft approaching and another torpedo. Bring these guys down. Oh, yes. So these light cruisers are in retreat. I'm sort of less bothered by that. Get rid of some of these reports. They're cluttering up the screen. But you can't order the battle cruisers to stop firing with their main armament, but carry on with their secondaries. The torpedo, oof, well, there's a whole pile of merchant ship hitting going on here. Just checking that these lots are all doing sensible things. Yeah, all fine. Seem to be concentrating on this destroyer a little bit too much. So the British, I mean, they've got lots of destroyers and around here, and they have cruisers up here, and they just seem to be completely abandoning all of them. So let's take this lot that way. These can go in, these are going in, those are coming round. Hence destroyer division misunderstands again. So some British torpedo and dive bombers. Eek. Good luck, chaps. I probably want to take the hold fire off. Not sure if that affects anti-aircraft guns. Z30, whoops, that's a shame. So let's see, it's sinking. Z16, just gone rogue. Z81. Righty-ho. So this is what it's looking like at the moment. So some scattered merchant ships, which the British seem to be using as their first line of defense. A gaggle of destroyers dotted around over here, and two clumps of light cruisers, 3 British and 3 French. So that just helps to go, oh, okay, so that's where the danger is. Yeah, weirdly, it's been quite difficult. Why are these guys going in? Oh, they're avoiding air attack. That's why they're not following the direction that I'd hoped. So I'm not entirely sure how many merchant ships I have sunk, but it's certainly not going well for them. All right, so enemy light jet fighter Warwick Cap attack 8 Junkers 160 dive bombers, so torpedo bombers. So this must be happening down here. So I look forward to hearing how that's all gone. Let's just go back to the cap. The time is, it's still only 6:11, so those dive bombers, those torpedo bombers probably didn't come from the carriers. Interesting to see that the British now have light jet fighters on their carriers too. So that's not what I meant. I meant this. Right. So let's auto select strike. And let's pick a target. The latest CV target is here, seemingly. (177 nautical miles away). So dive bombers, torpedo bombers, dive bombers. Again, no escort. Well, if they've got light jet fighters, I'm reluctant to send them up. Okay, here we have 10 jet fighters, so I'm happy with that one. Time over target is at 8. If I take off these dive bombers, oh, okay, weirdly, that makes it longer. Oh. No, it doesn't. Press the auto strike again. Yep. So take that off, 825 to 811. Doesn't make any odds. And with the 7 using missiles, I think I'd rather have them come along. So let's launch them. Would I like the dive bombers to carry a heavy load? I'm going to say no, because they're carrying missiles. Oh, okay. Actually, so yes. Right. Yes to all. And launch. Really? Auto select and launch. Yes. Yes. And they're flying. Okay. So let's go up back to here where the British are being a bit slippery by defending themselves with merchant ships. I don't know why. And yeah, the battle cruisers and the heavy cruisers seem to be struggling to get really stuck in. Even the Berlin here. They are just running away. So my first Focke-Wulfs are arriving at enemy ships. Okay, so a whole pile of swordfish fighters and gladiator fighters on cap intercept a whole bunch of my dive bombers and torpedo bombers, but there are not very many of them compared to the number of striking aircraft, so fingers crossed. That results in some hits. So still back at the gunfight, and still more stuff around the cap. Perhaps they're a little way out. More merchant ships. One more swordfish against the torpedo bomber. We've been hitting this armed merchant 1 class, whatever that is, quite a bit. Let's zoom in here again and see what's happening. And the British seem to be wholeheartedly trying to disengage. Right, enemy ship unsighted is hit by a missile. Let's have a few more of those, shall we? Oh, okay, thank you. So that's 2 missile hits, reportedly. Remember, we had like 9 hits or something last time, which didn't turn out to be very much. And one more. Yep, there goes another missile. This is making a hell of a lot of smoke. And yep, checking. We just seem to be really struggling to catch up with the British forces. Right, so the British seem to be coming south, which is nice. At least we're hitting 1 cruiser there. I'm just going to adjust slightly. Let's keep them going straight on. Who knows if they can get into... I mean, really, we need to not be shooting at a merchant ship that's on fire. That's not going to go well. Okay, let's bring the Gneisenau and the Lutzow to the south. Yeah, at least now they're firing at light cruisers. Another torpedo hit. Gneisenau and Lutzow seem to be avoiding planes or something weird. Let's bring the Z-24. It's got no more torpedoes left, so let's cool it off. We don't want to unnecessarily... so these have got some more torpedoes. Let's bring them down. Let's bring them down. Let's go in this whole downwards direction. Anyone else? Yep. So these chaps. bring them down. That's syncing, I believe.